Hi everyone, I'm Barbara from Fairies in My Pond, and I have got my ball jointed doll on my table to give us something to look at while I answer some of your questions. Now, I've gone over them, and I wanted this video to be not real long, but there's some things that are really being asked, and some of you are like you're like in a panic with polymer clay, and I'm going to share some things with you. And I really do feel that polymer clay needs to really have a good cleanup job from information. One of the questions is the biggest one. Well, I have a couple of them, but this one here is, there is such a controversy on this question, and someone did write me, and they didn't want to even post it because they don't want to get into a debate. And she was asking about, do you leave your cooked polymer clay in a hot oven, or can you take it out of the hot oven? She has heard so many different stories with it. She is scared to death to even touch polymer clay for the fact that she's going to do something wrong. Now, I understand this is, this person's choice on whether she is going to be scared to death of polymer clay, because I don't think that polymer clay is anything to be scared of. Polymer clay is nothing but a toy, and we need to use it to create and to have fun. When I first started with polymer clay, all of you know that I did start with porcelain, and I made the transition from porcelain to polymer clay. There was not any information on the internet. I didn't even have internet because where I live, I couldn't get internet back in the country. So I didn't have access to it. And basically, I just bought I got the polymer clay, and I just dove in it, and the only thing that I really did was I read the back of the package, and I went by that. On the back of the package, there isn't anywhere on here that says do not take out of the oven while it's hot. It does say do not put in a microwave, and do not use a hot wire, or a flame, but it does not say anything about leaving it in the oven to cool. When I first started out with porcelain was, you had better not open that kiln until it is completely cool, which that would have been 24 hours. When I made the transition, in my thinking, I had to do the same thing. Even though it didn't say anything on the package, it did tell me the temperature. So when I put it in my oven, I left it in there. And I was getting these cracks, and I was experiencing a lot of different things and everything. And then just all of a sudden, something just came to me, and it was, I don't think I have to leave this in the oven because it doesn't say so. So I started taking it right out of the oven, and I didn't have any problem with it. And I was moving right along with polymer clay, and I was doing it this way. I even had my own pasta machine that I used to make my own noodles and everything. And one day I was standing there, I stuck my clay in it, and I started playing with it, And I thought, oh, wow, this is really a neat way to condition your clay. So I took the pasta machine, didn't make any more noodles from it, that is for sure. But these are the things that I discovered on my own. And then we got internet, and I started getting on the internet, and I started looking up information about polymer clay because I was in it. I was so interested, and I started reading up on it, and it was like, oh my God, this polymer clay, when it came out, it's like everybody's got all this knowledge, and everybody says you got to do it this way, you got to do it that way. And I did read this, and it says, do not take out of your hot oven. And right away, I fell right into it. And I thought, oh no, I'm doing something wrong. Even though my way was working for me, I fell into it, and I was listening to everyone else. And this is what I really want to share with all of you, because I feel that what I've chose with myself as far as doing a YouTube channel, I'm not putting out that I am a teacher, but when you really look at life, we're all teachers and we're all students. But what I'm doing is I am presenting all of you everything that I do with myself, all the experimenting that I do, and I do a lot of experimenting, and I do a lot of testing. If I have a new product, I will test that, and I will make sure that it is going to hold up onto my polymer clay. When I see that it is not presenting a problem, then I share that with somebody. If somebody takes that information and they try it and they have a problem with it, it's okay. My way still is not wrong, and their way is not necessarily right. It just is. We're all different. And I am really seeing it with all these emails and everything, and I don't know what happened out there, but everybody is like really, I don't know if you're getting false information or you're getting too much information, and you're not really taking the polymer clay and just really letting yourself enjoy it. And this is what I really want to put out to all of you, is that polymer clay is to be able to enjoy it and have fun. Don't get into debates with other people about how you do things or how somebody else does it, because we are all different and things work very differently for all of us. I've had several people will email me, and they have a certain problem to where I will go down the list with them, and I'll say, well, you know what, try this, try this, try this, try this. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, if none of that is working, this is something that I wouldn't do with myself because I know it didn't work, but I know other people have. Try this. See if this works for you. That is not any direction to anybody that is out there that where people are doing things wrong and some are doing it right. Stop being afraid of the polymer clay. Start playing with it. Experiment with yourself. Enjoy it. Now, there are a couple of things that I have really said don't do, and one of them is like fingernail polish, and there are certain kind of sprays that it will just eat up the polymer clay. And I think that information is pretty much well out there to where everyone can, I mean, that is really, really obvious. But I will say this, I've had a lady that she claims that she does put a fingernail polish on polymer clay, and she says it has not done anything to it. I cannot say, and I don't even feel that I have that permission to even say to that person that she is wrong. She is the one that has the doll. She is the one that has put the fingernail polish on it, and she is the one that is seeing it for herself that it hasn't done anything. And she's had the doll for a year. Now, if I put fingernail polish on a doll, it never dried. It stayed gooey. And I don't know, it sat for months. And a matter of fact, I think I even still have one, and it is still gooey. And what happens is it just softens your clay, and then it just, it would just break apart for me. That's what happened to me. Okay. As far as putting your polymer clay in your oven and taking it out or letting it cool, I take it right out. I threw that information out when I got into it, and I thought I was doing it wrong by taking it out of the oven too quickly, and I wasn't having problems. So then when I started doing it the way that they were saying that you must do it this way, then I started having nothing but problems. I have been doing this, pulling this right out of the oven for quite a while, and it tremendously made a big difference for me. Then I did the ice plunge, or put it in my freezer. I mean, I take my polymer clay right out of that oven, and I have to hold it in a towel because that is how hot it is, and I'm running to the refrigerator and I'm putting it right into that freezer, and it has never cracked on me. Never. I don't have moonies and I don't have cracks. Somebody else could do that and it could crack. There still is no right or wrong. It just didn't work. So what I'm really trying to say here is maybe you're just getting too much information and you're not spending the time with the polymer clay. And the one thing that, and I gave it up a long time ago, is that if I had read something to where someone says, do not ever, ever, I questioned that. And it was almost like a little key for me. And it was like, okay, I got to try it. And 9 times out of 10, I found it worked for me. So that is when I realized that I really had to watch information. But there is nothing wrong with information. It's just don't get so caught up into it to where you can't even think for yourself, because a thought will come to you and say, oh, I can't do that because I read it on the internet or I got it from so-and-so that you can't do this, and then you won't try it. And let's say if you tried it, it worked for you. You just won't grow with polymer clay. And polymer clay should not be put out there that it is that difficult of a medium to use. It can be a lot of fun. Okay. That is my story on taking clay out of a hot oven. I personally do. I tell all my students, I say, this is what I do, and let's pull it right out of the oven. And I have to say, every single one of them, we have not had any cracks or anything. Now, let's get on to a couple of the questions. So don't limit yourself. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting up another video on the next question. So all of you, if you're here for the first time, subscribe to my channel, and I will be putting up the next video Tuesday. I don't know if it'll be during the day or in the evening. And I haven't decided on what the question will be, so I hope to see you there, and I will see you real soon.